So there was one little detail, or actually two details, within this chapter that really stood out to me. And the first one I want to get into, which is very simple and quick to cover, is the witching hour boy apparently once again delivered, money and goods and stuff to the poor. Now, at first glance, this might not seem like anything crazy, because this is something that's been ongoing for a little bit inside of Wano. But there was a lot of speculation, a lot of theories and stuff that said that maybe Yasu was the one doing this, or someone else, but it's clear as day now that even after Yasu's death, and, everything, the witching hour boy is still delivering goods to the poor. So that does say a lot. That is definitely up for speculation on whoever is doing that, and the more and more I think about it, the more I'm starting to believe it's either Hiyori or it is Kyoshiro. I'm honestly believing it's one of those two, and it just, when you really think about the relationship of Hiyori with her people, or how Kyoshiro is very shady and somehow Hiyori survived, it has to be one of those two. Those are the only two that I could think of that could actually be capable of doing this at this point in time within the story. But that was something I really wanted to point out, because it's a minor detail of the chapter, but it's definitely something I think is very, very important for the upcoming chapters of One Piece, especially with whatever really happened to Luffy and everybody else, all the pirate ships, etc., that was going to go and fight, Orochi and Kaido. But okay, the other point I want to get into, we see Orochi admit within this chapter that even if he saw one of the 9 samurai confront him, he would still not believe it, because it's just crazy to think that somehow they managed to go through time, etc., to be there right now. So when you really think about it, it goes to show that the ones that have traveled through time are probably off the hook from being a potential traitor, against, the Straw Hat Fleet and everybody else that's, working together to take down Kaido and Orochi. It's even more and more likely those that went through time are not a traitor, because Orochi even states himself that he hasn't seen them, so he can't really confirm himself. He hasn't seen any, so that is a big point there. However, someone is feeding him details, and I'm still very curious on who is doing that, and even though I still want to believe that it's Kanjuro, it's seeming more and more unlikely that is the case now because of all the details that has been revealed with this chapter, but I'm still gonna suspect him. I don't know, I just still think there's something very shady about the character, and if it's not, Kanjuro, it has to be Kiku. That's the only two that it really can be at this time that I can think of. But, okay, those are the two little minor details of the chapter. Let's get into the actual meat of the chapter. So, Jinbei. Jinbei was, mentioned in this chapter, which is honestly just surprising. It's been, oh man, how long has it been since Jinbei has really popped up in the story in terms of, just his name drop? It's been quite a bit, honestly. Has it been a year? Has it been 2 years? It's been a long time. But regardless, Jinbei was mentioned within this chapter, and since Oda-sensei went out of his way to mention Jinbei, Luffy is waiting there for Jinbei, etc., it makes you wonder if Jinbei is about to pop up, or if we're really going to find out his fate, because there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of theories and stuff around what happened to Jinbei, and as I have personally said in my own, reviews, etc., I said it's kind of weird that Jinbei has not popped up even after Big Mom apparently rushing to Wano as quickly as she did. It means that Jinbei wasn't really able to stall her for long, the fishmen weren't able to stall her for long, and she was able to chase after the Straw Hats. So, the question is, what happened to Jinbei? Was he captured? Was he thrown into Whole Cake Island and captured? Right now he's currently imprisoned? Or did he get away and something really bad happened, they had to retreat for a long period of time? We don't really know. The point is, though, is that Jinbei's fate has really been up in the air for so long, and many have wondered what's going on there, because Jinbei is a character that's kind of been in limbo for a very long time. Not just in the fact of what happened after Whole Cake Island, but in terms of just him saying he was going to join the Straw Hat crew. He said it a long time ago he would join Luffy. But the thing is, though, it was when he settled everything. He settled the issues with Big Mom, Fishman Island, etc. When he had everything out of the way, then he would join the Straw Hat crew. And the thing is, it's been many years since that promise was made, and it does make everybody wonder, is it going to happen? Is Jinbei going to join Luffy's crew or not. And, you know, there's been many people saying that maybe he's just not going to be able to because he's going to be dead before he does. And I'm still holding on to the fact that he's not dead. But, I mean, it still makes you wonder, why didn't he quickly rush over to Luffy after the whole event with Big Mom? Now, there is something I do want to point out, though, that is kind of, like, obvious. It's kind of like Oda's pointing to something. With the mentioning of Jinbei within this chapter and the fishman, etc., that was holding the line against Big Mom, there is a brief little moment within this chapter where you see the Sonny come under attack. Now, let's just be completely honest, okay? Let's all not joke and kid around. Let's be honest here. The Sonny's okay. And let's say even if the Sonny does get attacked and it's kind of broken apart in different pieces, it's going to be fine. Because at the end of the day, the Sonny is, you know, the ship that Frankie built to sail across the New World to reach it to the end, to be able to house the Pirate King that will be Luffy. So, Sonny will be okay. Even if it is slightly destroyed, it will be repaired by Frankie. Because, I mean, think about it. Sonny was able to hold off against a Yonko such as Big Mom. So, for that to be a thing, there's just no way Sonny is going to go down from a few little, you know, explosions, etc. I just don't see that being the case. Sonny is just way too strong in terms of the wood it's made from to be able to go down in such a way. And also, if Sonny was to be destroyed, okay, like, we're just going on a limb here to say if it was destroyed, Oda would not destroy such an important part of the Straw Hat crew with a simple little panel with some random fodder characters. It doesn't make sense. Because if there's one thing that One Piece has definitely established, Oda himself has established, is that the ships of, you know, One Piece have their own personality. They're technically a part of the pirate crew. I mean, think about Marigo. I mean, Mary was a big part of, you know, the Straw Hat crew. And, I mean, I can't believe Oda had me crying for a death of a ship. That still blows me away to this day. So, I mean, the point I'm trying to say is, it's just, I highly doubt Sonny is going to be gone. So, what I'm trying to get at with Jinbei is with the mentioning of Jinbei within this chapter, and then what happened with the Sonny within this chapter, it's likely that maybe the fishmen, you know, popped up, and they probably dragged the ship down amongst the explosion, and it didn't get destroyed at all. It's probably going to be a little bit waterlogged, but overall, the ship will probably be A-okay, because maybe Jinbei and his crew kind of popped up to be able to save the day and join Luffy for his fight. That's what I'm assuming. That is my understanding of potentially what happened for Oda to kind of go on a limb here and mention Jinbei of all characters, especially when we know that they could travel underwater and pull down ships. They have the crew members to be able to do that. And it would also make sense for Luffy's crew to kind of go incognito and get to where Kaido and Orochi is through underwater as well. That is a likely possibility. So there's just many things you can kind of throw out there. But getting back on point though, we have to wonder now what really happened to everybody. I mean, as we know, the 9 are left alone, and they are clearly dead set on going to fight Orochi and Kaido, regardless if they get backup or not. They are going to fight, and it makes sense the reason why they are, because Kinemon made a really good point within the chapter. There is no other time. There's no next time. Like, they will never get another chance to strike at Orochi and Kaido, because there's multiple reasons for this. Even if Orochi is dead set and believes that the 9 are still alive, he still technically has no evidence to back this up that they're alive. He's just, at this point in time, people view him as a paranoid, you know, leader of Wano. That's pretty much what people look at him as. And when it is actually discovered that, you know, the 9 did come back, they took over the prison, etc., Udon, and then they were leading a fleet and all that, you know, their surprise is completely gone. Because you will never get another chance like they have right now. I mean, they literally went through time to be here, and if they don't utilize this opportunity properly, it's never going to be on the table ever again. So, it makes sense why they're going with or without backup. It's the only option. It's better to go right now and have slimmer chances than to wait a year or a few years and just never have the chance to begin with, because you're never going to have another chance. Now, another big thing to point out, too, it seems like Shinobu is going to be grabbing Momo and dragging him away where he can't participate at all while the 9 go in to be able to fight against Kaido. It honestly just, you know, shows their determination and just makes you wonder, you know, for them to all be there, is the traitor amongst them, or is it someone else? I mean, I'm still very curious on who really the traitor is at this point. But, yeah, I do think that it's just really shows how much Odin had an effect on them to really make them go against basically death itself. Because if they don't get back up, they're going to die. But they have to go or they can never do it again. So there's just a lot of things riding on this. And it really just goes to show what type of figure Odin was to really inspire these individuals like they are. Which, by the way, that gets into the next point, Odin. So, at long last, we are finally getting some information on Odin. It seems like it's that point in the arc now of One Piece to where we are getting the flashback to get some more context to what happened to Wano, why Orochi did what he did, why Kaido's here, etc. It seems like we're finally going to get a lot of context to everything, why Odin died, all that. And, you know, it's something that usually happens in almost every single One Piece arc, especially, like, when you think back, like, let's say, of you know, Fishman Island, Alabasta, you know, you always get, you know, flashbacks of, you know, important characters that are potentially dead, and you find out more about them, what they did for them to die, etc. And it seems like we're probably going to get a long flashback. It looks like we're getting into a major flashback that's probably going to focus on a lot of Odin, and probably up to his very point of his death, probably when they traveled through time. I think that's probably what's going to happen. But one of the big things I'm interested in, though, to learn is probably the history, because, you know, obviously Odin, he knows a lot. I mean, he traveled with Roger, so because of that, he has to know a lot about the world. He has to know what One Piece really is, and with this flashback, we might actually get some information that hints at what the in-game objective really is, and, you know, I'm really curious about that. That's one of the things that's, you know, I'm really fascinated about, I'm looking forward to from this, is because Odin does obviously know a lot, but obviously, with where the flashback is taking place right now, at the end of the chapter, and from what I understand, it's set 39 years in the past. So this is honestly before, you know, Odin was respected, before he really formed the samurai to be underneath him, before he went with Roger. So the flashback we're getting is all before that. But you have it to where a bunch of people start to comment on him, say, hide your wife, hide your, you know, your daughters, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, is that really what I think, you know, is being said there? I'm assuming that Oda Sensei didn't try to meme there, because that is definitely a meme. I'm assuming that was probably either the translations from, you know, the English translators wanting to meme, or, you know, Oda accidentally did a meme reference without really trying. I just really doubt, you know, Oda would do a meme like that. It's such an iconic moment with, you know, Odin. But, speaking of Odin, his design, even though he's still technically a silhouette, and it's kind of bugging me at this point, because what is the reason of really hiding Odin's, you know, character, especially when we know he's a part of Roger's crew? Unless his appearance is going to give away something that has been in our face for a very long time. I just don't really see what's the point of hiding Odin's character. I don't know why he has to be a silhouette at this point. So I think that's going to be probably a big, you know, shock, I think. I think when we find out Odin's, you know, probably silhouette, like when we find out what he looks like amongst the silhouette, we might come to find out either A, he's still alive in some way, somewhere around the world we might have seen him, or B, maybe he has some form of family member that we've seen journeying throughout, you know, this story. One of the other's probably the case, because I just don't see the reason for, you know, Oda to hide him at this point. But, anyways, getting back into the main topic of discussion, Odin's, you know, design, he has a, like a sumo-like bow or whatever on him, which is, interesting. So it seems like, you know, Odin really, you know, probably was into sumo, and he was probably someone that, probably wore a similar attire to them. So, that's kind of a design I did not expect from his character, honestly. I expected, like, a kimono, but to see him kind of wearing, like, a sumo wrestler outfit, I'm like, okay, that comes as kind of a shock. And on top of that, too, you know, I do like how his swords look on his waist. They're really big. Like, they're really big swords when you look at it. And the man honestly has some legs, too. Like, look at the man's legs. Like, he's got some thick legs. Like, yo, the man has not missed leg day whatsoever because of how thick his legs are. But, I do like his design. I do think, downright, Odin is probably going to be a really cool character. Probably I hope he's not too wacky of a design. I really hope not, because I'd like to have a really serious design to someone that's just been so monumental within the story thus far. I hope he isn't just wacky. I do hope he has a really serious design, but we'll see. You know, Oda-sensei always does surprises with his designs. But, anything else left to get into? Let's see. I talked about Jinbei. I talked about, Orochi and his plans. I think I've covered everything. I think I've gotten everything that was relatively important. So, if I missed anything, let me know in the comments below. But, I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.